Hey. Hey, everybody, and thanks for joining us again for another episode of UHS Presents. I am your host, Sarah, and with me always is our co-host now, Lori Foster.
Hey.
So today we have a whole bunch of guests. Maybe not the most we've ever had, but I think it's got to be close to the top. So in no particular order, let me introduce our guests. First up, we have the creator and writer at Wannabe Press, writer and creator of Ichabod Jones' Monster Hunter and the Godverse Chronicles, and editor of Cthulhu is Hard to Spell. He's a USA Today best-selling author, and he collects pins. It's Russell Nohelty. Hi, Russell.
Hi.
Hey.
Super duper. Okay. Next, she is the editor and publisher at Burning Spear Comics and the Wildcard Chronicles, the host of the Moana Nui podcast, author of children's books Adventures of Nakoa and Nahoa, and I hope I said that right. And probably it does not like that she now has to tell other people that her name is Moana, like the Disney movie. It's Moana McAdams. Hello.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
Hey.
Yeah. All right. Third, we have the creator of Dork Empire Inc., the writer and artist of Agent Wild, Reaper Corps, and Dreadlock the Barbarian, co-founder of the comic creator collective The Sketchy Bug Group and Black Comic Creator Day in Torrance, California. He loves rom-coms and he makes the voices and sound effects when he plays with his toys. It's Don Walker. Hello.
Hey, everybody. Hi.
Hey.
All right. Our fourth guest is the creator and editor-in-chief of Wingless Comics, writer on Justice and the indie crossover Nightfall, the award-winning author of Ascension, the Trushian Saga. I am going to mess up everybody's titles of everything. Top surprise read of 2020 by comicsattack.net for Justice #1. And he once also almost got beat up by Mike Tyson. Here's Brian Lambert.
How's it going, everybody?
Wonderful. So, you guys have a bunch of amazing new stuff happening right now, right? So, like I said before we started streaming, let's go in alphabetical order here. So, first, Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit what you got happening?
For the next 5 days, I believe, because we're coming to the end of our campaign, Wingless Comics is running the campaign for Nightfall Part 2, which is Part 2 of 5 of our crossover with Constant Hustle Comics, and it's got some cameos from some other big names. My sister Moana is going to have a cameo in issue 5. Lori doesn't know it, but she's got a cameo spot in there as well, and a couple other people. We've just been real successful, real thankful. And like I said, we're running for the next 5 days. Nightfall #2, A Cold Wind Blows on Kickstarter right now.
All right, fabulous. What's going on with you, Don?
So right now, we're on the last 11 days of the Dreadlock the Barbarian one-shot on Kickstarter. We have gone through our first stretch goal onto the second stretch goal. And for those out here watching or listening, we have a cross promo with you guys and elsewhere issue 2. So if you back elsewhere issue 2, you back Dreadlock at a physical reward. There's a cool pinup that Lori and I worked on that you guys can get for free. So be aware of that.
You'll have to show it, Sarah.
You
have it?
I sure do. But I have a whole bunch of stuff here, so I don't want to pick the wrong one. It is this one, right?
There you go.
Yes.
Art by me, inks by Lori, colors by Tommy Shelton.
You know, the problem with
free.
these is that the thumbnails for these are teeny tiny. So, yeah, freaking awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, okay, and Gregory Maldonado is going to be joining us for anybody who's watching for Gregory. Just not here yet, so he's gonna have to introduce himself, like I said. Russell, what do you got going on?
So the book that we have on Kickstarter now is called Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. It's volume 3 that collects issues 9, 10, 11, and 12. We have 10 days left. Our campaign ends next Thursday. We just went over our funding goal this morning, so we're very excited about that. And it's a dark fantasy horror comedy about a mental patient that escapes an asylum and becomes a monster hunter, but doesn't know if he's killing monsters, humans, or it's all in his head the whole time.
That's intense. I like it. So let's see. Moana, we haven't talked to you yet. What do you got going on?
Hey guys. So for us, our Kickstarter is not live yet. We are actually launching next Monday on the 22nd, but you can check it out now at moananuipodcast.com. So I'm a little bit different from some of the folks here. I do have a comic that will be included in our campaign, but what we're actually seeking funding for is the Moana Nui podcast, which is a storytelling podcast that celebrates and honors the history, culture, and perspectives of POC, Indigenous, and African diasporan peoples. So uplifting marginalized voices, helping folks get to know behind the scenes of the creators of some of our favorite comics and creations. And just having a good time talking just like we are right now. So we're gonna have a whole ton of rewards, some from our guests and some from us, as well as some of our comic books and everything. So lots of good fun stuff to look forward to next week. We're excited about it.
And hoodies. I just want to add hoodies because I got a hoodie from Moana's last Kickstarter, and it's my favorite hoodie. So.
Oh yay! Awesome. Yeah, I think this time we'll do tanks since it's getting warmer. Hopefully.
Oh, that's fair.
Was that did you have a picture of the hoodie, Lori?
I don't know. I need to get one. I need to take one.
Oh, I saw somebody wearing a hoodie. I don't know I don't know who it was.
Yeah, get it together, Lori.
I know.
I mean, I might have hallucinated it too, so we don't know. And I see Greg just popped on, so I'm gonna put him on the spot here. So, Greg, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Welcome to the podcast, by the way, or the live stream. We're not a podcast; we're a live stream. Can you hear us, Greg?
I can hear you. I'm having a little tech.
Ruh-roh. Well,
while we wait for Greg, maybe let's say hi to some people in the comments.
Yeah,
Andrew Duggan says, "Yo, what's up?" Stephen House says, "Hey, everybody." Brett Hillesheim says, "Nightfall." Heather Powers says, "Hey, y'all." Stephen Lateman says, "Get it together, Sarah." So rude.
Rude. I wrote these intros like 15 minutes ago, okay? It's not like I got time to practice that shit.
Aaron Nabis says, "Hola" from San Diego. Katie says, "Hey, guys." Aaron Robluski says, "Hey, everyone." He's actually, I believe, also running a Kickstarter right now for Enenra. It's like a horror thriller type deal.
Sweet.
Anyway, hey everyone.
And I just saw. Was it Andrew? There it is. Andrew backed Dreadlock and Elsewhere. So, and nice. Russell's Kickstarter. Let me put up some links here. I've got links because Andrew wants to see Russell's Kickstarter too. So I've got some links.
People are ready to give you guys money, so let's give them some links.
Yes, please. That would be great. So yeah, my book is my book's the third volume. It's all hardcover or digital rewards. We do audio commentary for each volume as well. So yeah, if you like kind of like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac or In the Mouth of Madness or like things that mess with your mind, then this book is the one for you. It's tons of action, tons of comedy, and tons of mind screwery.
I am posting up here this is Russell's that I just posted here. And I'm going to pop it up on the screen here. I just posted that. So if you guys want to check out Russell's, that's that one. And I'm scrolling through like 800 pages of pictures here. It's awesome for me, but then you guys have to wait for me to take care of this. So let's talk a little bit more about Don. Let's start with you with your Kickstarter. And I'm going to put your link up here first. Now, I mean.
Okay. So the character Dreadlock the Barbarian is part of my Dork Empire Inc. shared universe of characters. So right now we have 2 books, Agent Wild, which is set in the modern day of our universe, then Reaper Core, which is the future of the same universe. Dreadlock takes place in the same Reaper Core timeline, so they're kind of like brother books. Reaper Core has a cameo in the Dreadlock one-shot, so fans of that book can check him out as well. The character first started out as a short story, an anthology that the Sketchy Bug group did in October called Danger Arcade. That book actually goes to the printer next week. I just turned all the files into the letterer yesterday, so that's being compiled right now. But I had so much fun writing and drawing that character that you know how it is when you write a character and the character takes over. So he had more stories to tell. So I immediately pivoted to the one shot, added 14 more pages for the one shot, and then just compiled that book. It will put the Kickstarter up. Like I said, we have 11 days to go. Like Russell, our digital rewards, we have a commentary that I do for the book, page by page, the who, what, where, why of the book. I talk about all that. We have 2 covers, regular cover by me. We have a pencil art cover, like a virgin cover. Then our first stretch goal, which we hit yesterday, is a 80s retro DC cover by the legendary artist Chuck Patton, who's most known for his Justice League work, Justice League Detroit from the 80s, that weird funky team that had like Vixen and Gypsy and Vibe. He's actually co-creator of Vibe, so he's doing that cover for us. And we have original art pages. I have a tier where you can actually have a variant cover of your own, where I draw you as one of Dreadlock's crew, and I depict you and Dreadlock fighting the villains of the book. You get 25 copies of that. You get the original artwork amongst many other rewards for that tier. So I try and balance it out with lots of fun art stuff, and personalized items.
Excellent.
For fans.
Well, I've got some art of yours uploaded finally, so we can have a look at some of this stuff. Do you want to tell us about any of these?
This is the Reaper Core Zero cover. It's a wraparound cover. This is the book that Dreadlock kind of spins off of. Reaper Core, so the future of our universe, mankind has settled Earth after a devastating war with an alien race. During this war, mankind creates an AI. The AI creates cloned humans as soldiers and sentient cyborgs. On the cover here, you see sentient cyborgs battling those same clones. So now, as Earth is, again, being resettled, we have a society that's teetering on destruction once more, as the humans, the clones, and the cyborgs are kind of fighting for what's left of mankind.
Wow.
That's awesome. I actually own this book, and it's great, guys. So you should pick up a copy. I think dorkempireinc.com?
Yeah.
Is that the right? Yeah.
It's like dorkempireinc.com.bigcartel, yeah.
I'll put that in the comments as well.
Mark Tonelli says, "You twisted my arm. I just backed Dreadlock. That name is great."
Thank you. Appreciate it. I thought folks would like that. It made me laugh too. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I have more pictures of yours. So is this from your current Kickstarter?
This looks like Brian stuff.
Brian.
Oh, my bad. My bad. See, this is the problem with thumbnails.
I sent the cover to Dreadlock, the cover art, I believe.
You're squinting at the tiny thumbnails.
I'm having a good time.
You're okay.
Well,
no, Brian's art is pretty awesome too. So.
Well, Gregory just managed to get in, so
for me. I was just gonna,
sorry, I'm late to the party. How you doing, everybody?
Another bonus here.
I'll just start throwing images up, and you guys can claim them as they come up. I'm so blind I cannot see these tiny things. So I think this one's Brian, right? Is this a Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us about this one.
Well, anybody who knows me like personally knows I'm a huge Batman fan. So with the second cover for Nightfall, part 2, I wanted to do like a Batman homage of, the whole alley scene, crime alley, and him on his knees. And so you have Lux, who is our plucky teenage hero, and you have Avery the Astonishing from Constant Hustle Comics, and Caliburn from Wingless Comics attempting to save her from what we don't know yet. Obviously, in store, we know a little bit more, but as the plot deepens, you realize like a secret society is basically calling down, for lack of better words, an elder god to try and remake the world in their own image. Nightfall is like a labor of love. It's something I've always wanted to do even before I got into comics. One of those big kind of extinction agenda, old school crossovers, and I was fortunate enough to work with Constant Hustle Comics, as a partner to get this done and to be able to, again, push forward. We smashed all of our stretch goals. Actually, an INRA is one of our stretch goals. So if you actually back at the all def, all digital level, you're going to get actually a book from Burning Spirit Comics. You're going to get an INRA, and you're going to get 19 other amazing indie comics in that tier. Our second stretch goal was available for purchase. It's going to be a Wingless team shirt, which has never actually been purchased before. It's only been for the team. And then our third stretch goal, which we've surpassed now, we're going to get Thiago Silva is going to do a Nightfall team pinup for us. That'll be free to every backer. So yeah, we've crossed all 3 of our stretch goals. We're still reaching for the moon, trying to get up there as high as we can so that we can continue to bring great content and the content that we love, and the fans have really been really all about. I mean, even from the Justice 1 campaign, people have really resonated with the characters, which has been really, really cool, especially when you're talking about like an angel with wings, and just to be able to separate that mythology from belief has been really, really fun. It's very I take after McFarlane in that, real Spawn, like in terms of creating the lore and creating a world that's steeped in like this Judeo-Christian mythology without being attached to the belief systems thereof. So it's been pretty fun creating this entire world and just going on this journey.
Hey, if I can help, hit me up after this, Brian. I can throw in Rubricore or Agent Wild into for PDF if you want. Help you guys out.
No doubt, man. Okay, yeah, I'll hit you up after because I definitely backed Dreadlock day 1. I did, man. So I can't wait to see that.
I appreciate it, man. So yeah, let me help you too. So
okay, yeah. I'll announce it as soon as we get off, man.
Cool.
Making connections even on stream, like right here. You're seeing it real live time.
I also wanted to mention anyone backing Elsewhere Volume 2. That's our Kickstarter right now. Oh man, I think they're getting a free copy of almost everyone here's stuff. So nice. To get a preview so you can read it before you back their Kickstarters, like you just back Elsewhere right now, you get all of their stuff for free, and then you can read it, and then you can back their new stuff because you definitely should.
Let's put the Elsewhere. I'll pop the Elsewhere one up here too, so that you guys, if anybody here hasn't backed Elsewhere.
What is wrong with you if you haven't?
Exactly.
Go now. It's
I have
44 hours left, right?
Not very long. Yeah. I have somebody who's extremely close to me, side eye, who still hasn't backed it, even though his very special, significant other has a story in it. I'm talking about me. He's rolling his eyes in case you guys can't see it, but it's amusing me, so that's all that matters.
He's in trouble, man. You're in trouble, Jeff.
You're in trouble.
I'm calling
Jeff.
you out, Jeff.
Lori's after you. You're on her list now. He's gonna watch the snow and pretend he's not afraid of you.
Julian Colin says hello. Andrew Dugan says I backed at the Big Hero pledge level for Dreadlock.
Nice, thank you.
Nope, I did it wrong. I put up the wrong link.
Nope, that is the wrong one. Yeah, it's slash Kickstarter.
Every damn time I do it. Every damn time I'm always like, no, do this one.
We have too many links. It's fine. Is Greg functional yet? Does he want to introduce himself?
Yes, Greg.
I should be functional. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm a comic book illustrator. I'm the artist, the penciler on Shaolin Nun, which just ran through his second Kickstarter for issue 2, which finished Friday. Lori will be inking that, I believe, right? Yeah, yeah. So I'm new to the indie scene, to the Kickstarter scene, to everything. I've been drawing forever, but I've been a part of 3 successful Kickstarters. So, but still learning my way around the ropes. The whole social media thing still with me. So be gentle.
Awesome. I think okay. I'm gonna take a shot here and see if I can do this without screwing it up. Is this a piece of yours? Your art?
Yes.
All right, let's talk about it.
That's I did the line art for that. It was I did both pencil and inks. It was colored by Lala Narita, who's based. She's internationally based, I believe. I'm not sure actually. Somewhere in Asia, but she's based internationally. She did wonderful colors for that. But I did the line art. That's the cover to issue 2, which again was just funded fully on Friday. It reached its goal, and I'm getting cracking on the pencils now. I'll probably be sending Lori the first and second page tonight. So.
Oh, nice! There you go.
So she won't be bored after this stream. This is a weirdly exhausting thing to do. Like when I'm done, I'm like, oh, I need to sleep now. You eat something and then go straight to bed. Like it's so fun, but it's weirdly exhausting.
It is.
Okay. We haven't heard from Moana, so I definitely know this. Oh, that one doesn't show up very well in Ping, does it? Let's try again. But you talk about your podcast a little bit more, so because you have a new Kickstarter coming out, right?
Yeah, definitely. So this campaign is actually for season 2. We did season 1 in December and successfully funded on Kickstarter. So thank you to all of our backers who helped there. We actually love the Kickstarter platform because we've done our podcast, we've done my children's book, and we've done the Wild Card Chronicles. So we have a couple campaigns, under our belts. For season 2, what we're trying to do is, help to continue to grow the podcast. We're trying to get our own custom song for it. And we've been working with so many great guests. And the podcast itself is when you go to a convention as a creator, from the creative side, it's so much so quick. You don't really get to spend time with people and kind of hear more about their, what inspired them and what led to their creating the comic books. So when the pandemic happened, this was kind of my way for us to connect amongst one another and helping both myself and fans who, are big supporters on the platform to get to know the creators, to talk behind the scenes, to hear their voices specifically. Because what I noticed with, some of the bigger named, the mainstream companies is that everyone falls in love with the characters, but they don't really realize all the time, all of the creators who are a part of making this happen. and it's not just a brand, right? There are hardworking people behind this. And so I wanted to create a platform where folks could come on and talk about, their experiences working on their specific projects, and maybe like our fans could get value from that. Because I know like one of my favorite things at some of the bigger cons is sitting in on panels for like shows or books and companies that I love, and hearing from, the people that are working on it. So hopefully fans are getting value from that perspective. And then also as a creator, perhaps you can pick up some tips from other people that could help you, elevate what you're doing in terms of your own creation process, or even like bridge connections. I mean, that's the big part for me, is building up relationships amongst creators as well, because we're all in this together, right? Like, how can we collaborate to make this easier on us? Because we don't have the big budgets of these big companies, right? But we do have us, right? We have our own skills, and how can we exchange value so that we can continue to fuel the passions that we love and continue to deliver quality content and stories to all of the fans out there. So we had an amazing guest this past week. For those who are fans of Warrior series on Cinemax, we had Father June on the show. So that was an amazingly fun time. Mike Watson is another, person that we all love here. He has his Chat and Draw series, and we kind of did a crossover event, podcast style. And I was interviewing Perry, and while Mike was doing a piece for him. So yeah, I mean, it's just, for me, this is the thing that I love. I love people, and I love, connecting with my friends. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've missed the most about conventions, is getting together with people and spending time.
For sure. I definitely feel you there. I at first I was like sad. I was sad about the no cons. And then as the summer went on, I started to feel like, oh, this isn't so bad, taking the whole summer off. And then by the end of the year, I was like, I love my boyfriend, but I'm dying to see another person.
Yes, you need variety to spice it up.
Thank God for the internet. Otherwise, we'd all be crazy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how about, I've got some pictures that I'm relatively certain I'm not going to screw up here. This is Russell's. Yes?
Yes. All right. Ooh, awesome. So that is one of the main characters of Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter. Frankly, my favorite character of the whole series, Necromonica, who's the first wizard of the apocalypse. So the book, she is she's one of the leads that comes in the fifth issue that we launched a couple of years ago, and she takes no shit from anyone.
Yes.
So she is this character who does not want to be a wizard. She clearly does not want to be in the apocalypse. She just happens to have these powers because of a book she found, the Necronomicon. And she's decided that her goal is to beat the crap out of all of the Dukes of Hell and send them back to Hell, and then kill Lucifer, and then end this apocalypse once and for all. So she really gives Ichabod drive. She gives him Ichabod kind of is very good at killing monsters and surviving, but he doesn't really have a purpose. And Necromonica gives him a purpose. And so this right now we're funding the third volume, which collects issues 9, 10, 11, and 12. And as Lori mentioned, you get issue 1 for free if you backed elsewhere. Pretty sure you get issue free also if you back Moana's campaign on Monday. But yeah, the book is sort of, it came from a really messed up time in my life. So it was the worst time of my adult life for sure. I just moved to Los Angeles. It's been a couple of years. I was trying to break through as a writer and it not happening. I just basically spent all of the money that I had to go to San Diego Comic-Con and get rejected from our first book. So I was coming down. I was pretty I was pretty low, and I decided that if I wanted to if I was going to get rejected, I was going to make the book that I wanted to make. And Ichabod is a culmination of a lot of my darkest fears and issues. It's about a mental patient who has been condemned as sort of just universally a bad person.
I think I've got a picture of him up here. Is this the guy? Yes.
That's him. And it is about sort of his redemption arc. Like, can somebody that has been cast off from society find redemption and become a hero? And like, what are the conditions that would happen? And the great part about Ichabod is he's very much a broken human, but he's not a hero despite being broken. He is a hero because of being broken. So it's the things that have made him be cast off from society that allow him to also be a hero in this new world. And then we combine that with the idea that, like, maybe he's having a mental break. Maybe it's all in his head. Maybe he's really in the apocalypse. Maybe like he's killing humans and thinks that it's the apocalypse. And I move between those perspectives. And really, someone gave me a great compliment today, which was like, I give enough to give the reader insight, but it really is a collaboration with the reader about like what is happening here. And sometimes I'll just like make a hard left turn and just hope. And the readers have been really wonderful at catching me and being supportive of the project. This is the penultimate volume, so it will end, at least the Monster Hunter arc will end in the fourth volume after issue 16, and we are doing like a prestige cover run. So each cover is black with one of the main characters in the front, and it's meant to all like basically be in theme. So if we are, that's one of the characters from volume 2 that I won't give away. Necromonica is the main character in volume 2, and then in volume 1 it's Ichabod, and then volume 4 will be another character. So they're meant to be able to be displayed, to be put in a slipcase. We're thinking about doing that for the fourth volume. Man, this is the most, Mark. Yes, you can get the first 2 volumes as well. You can get physically through the campaign. I believe it's the $120 level will get you all 3 books, plus all 3 PDFs, plus all 3 audio commentaries, plus you get our exclusive pin from the campaign, which is that cover, just the cutout of the main character in a 2-inch pin. So it's quite a lot that you get for that pledge. And the best part about Kickstarter is, as you guys know, if you guys are a Kickstarter or Kickstarter enthusiast, is like, you're the only people that will ever help us create this book. Like when you back a book on Kickstarter, it really is helping us breathe life into a series. And the people, many people, thousands upon thousands of people have bought Ichabod, but a very small select group of people have helped us actually create it. And honestly, like, this book would not exist without Kickstarter. We came to Kickstarter in 2019 after several bad launches with another project. And people have been asking us for new Ichabod for about 5 years at that point. And I told them that if they wanted more Ichabod, they needed to show me that they wanted more Ichabod. And we put a very ambitious goal of almost $16,000 for a single issue book. And we blew past that. And that allowed us to reprint volume 1, to put volume 2 into production. Volume 2, let us produce volume 4. And so we are, this is really the kind of weird book that I think Kickstarter was made for. It's done in kind of a very odd art style, and I mean, I just love it so much. And not only can you get the book on Kickstarter, but you could also get original pages for the first time in the 11 years that I've been working on a Kickstarter. I learned that Renzo does all of these pages on pencil and inks on boards. And he has offered them during the campaign for people who back at certain levels or do add-ons. So yeah, that's Ichabod. You can see it's full of violent magic, mythology, and just like the person who did Nightfall, Brian's thing, we also have it steeped a lot in Christian mythology without being religious, but also in Lovecraft mythology, and we spin a lot of all of that stuff together to make like one pretty weird, wild world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Mark on Facebook is asking, can you get the first 2 volumes physically as well?
Yes, all throughout the campaign, you can get actually any of our 8 comics physically or digitally in the campaign, and you can get all of the original pages. I believe there's a tier for all 3 books and an original page of art as well.
That's awesome. Tony Cottrell says, backing all of the current campaigns. Thank you, Tony. That's awesome.
Thanks, Tony. You're great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks, Tony. Having comics out there as well. He just finished up a really successful Kickstarter for Southside himself.
Oh, well, we'll have to have him on here at some point.
Yeah, definitely. We're working the bugs out as we go. Like, this is not a completely smooth series yet, but we're working on it and getting better every time. Moana, I finally got your really a fantastic logo here to upload. It's kind of with the way that it overlays here, it's kind of iffy, but it still looks pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it's okay.
That is cool.
Thing out of here.
Yeah, we're really
nice.
excited about this. It was done by Mike Watson on Chat and Draw, and he was like, "Give me some stuff that you guys like." And Dana, she's a con photographer, but she also does cosplay too. So hers was easy. Mike's like, "I don't need anything. I saw something. I'm doing you as that." And then when it came to mine, I was like, "Oh gosh, I'm so I like a whole lot of things, but." As we were talking about it, I was like, you know what? My favorite video game is Gears of War. Give me a Gears of War badass female and make me her. So he totally killed that, and he kept elements from our original logo. You see the sharks behind there and the ocean elements, which is a big part of the meaning behind a podcast, with the ocean being the vehicle that connects indigenous cultures around the world, and that being what our podcast is focused on. And he just did a beautiful job. I'm really excited about this. We're going to have t-shirts, and since Lori mentioned it, we'll probably bring hoodies back because you can get hoodies all the time.
Hoodies are amazing. You know what somebody needs to come up with, though, is like hoodies for women, because I've got a big bust and hoodies always like to ride up and then choke me a little bit. So my only issue with them. That's why I like zippered ones, because then I can do it without getting choked.
Okay, sorry, you just told me I'm gonna put some with the zippers.
Yeah, if you get some zippered ones, I'm all over that. But see, and I also like the front pocket though too. So like there's no winning. I guess I need like a quarter zip or something. I don't know. We'll work on it.
Yes,
but if you're gonna put that logo on there, then I definitely need one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's badass.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. I guess I didn't know strictly that Mike did it, but I should have, because I'm starting to recognize his art style. It's like all those years with my, being armpits deep in Zach's art, I can recognize it at the drop of a hat. Like it's been a while now, but yeah, but Jeffrey pointed out something. Isn't this Zach's, or isn't this one of your guys's? And I was like, oh yeah, that is. Somebody stole our shit. So, because you know how people like to rip off other people's art. I think it ended up being somebody colored one of Zach's pencils or something like that, and we figured it out. But yeah, like it's getting that way with Mike's stuff now. I can recognize it because I've started to see it so much. So, all right, we talked a bit about Moana. We talked about Russell's. Who haven't we talked to enough here? Who haven't we?
Does anyone have any questions also? Sorry. If anyone watching has questions, please throw them at us.
I have a question.
I didn't get your Kickstarter, though. You need to send me your Kickstarter link, Gregory.
Oh, well, the Kickstarter's done. It actually finished up Friday.
It's done now?
Yeah. So the only thing I'm promoting actually is my Instagram. So Greg Mal _ART art. So if you guys want to check it out, I'll post updates on the comic. The future Kickstarter is set for June.
Well, that's fantastic. So yeah, like Lori said, if anybody watching has any questions or any comments, we're gonna read them off. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I think Lori, you were kind of paying attention to the chat, but when I'm operating the overlays, the pictures, I kind of forget about the comments. So sorry.
If I could comment real quick.
Yeah.
To the fans watching, thank you. My Kickstarter has gone up by almost $400 since we started this.
Okay.
So thank you, everybody watching and listening. I really appreciate it.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Let's
Katie
give everyone
said
that kind of love, guys. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah, everyone.
Spread it around. Spread it around.
Nobody wants to know that Katie's sad she missed the episode where Mike drew Moana's logo.
I'm sad I missed it too. It looks so cool.
I watch his stuff a lot, and I don't watch every episode because I can't. I don't have enough time for everybody's stuff. But like when I do, I like to put it on and then I'll listen and look up. I'll cast it to the TV so that I can make supper and then watch the podcast while it's on or the live stream while it's on. So yeah, his is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can catch the replays on YouTube, Chat and Draw.
That's true.
My podcast is like a WWF episode though, man. Like that dude is so high energy. At the end of it, I'm like, I need a shower. I want to calm down a little bit. Because that dude is just all over the map sometimes.
I need his kind of energy. Like
Yes.
I feel, yeah.
He's high.
What is that? Is that Adderall? What is that?
It's natural.
And he has
feel like
kids.
that
Like
one-
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like, how can you have like even one kid? Like, if I babysit my sister's kids for an hour, I'm like, I'm tired, and he's got them all the time. And he is so energetic. Oh, I'm tired just thinking about it now. Look at this.
Tony Cottrell says, question for all of us. What are your most challenging hurdles in bringing your creations to life?
Money.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Money and time.
End of sentence.
Yes.
No, man, it's so I write novels too, right? And I can write 16 novels, literally 16 novels for the price that it cost me to make this one issue of Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
The people say like, why, that's a real high goal at $16,666, but like, that is not even like, I am literally borrowing from the profits of previous campaigns to bring it down that low. It's really closer to $20,000 or $22,000 to produce one of these volumes and get it out, ship it out, and like deliver it. And so yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and it's tough to sit there and me and Lori were talking about this, not to call you out, but on the Elsewhere campaign, it's like, $10,000 that you were like, that's not easy money to make for anyone. And it's hard because you're like, oh my God, I just spent like a year of my life making this book.
Right.
How can it cost that much? Like, how can it be that expensive to do? And yet every time I run the numbers, and I run them maybe 10 times before a campaign, and I'm like, it can't really cost that much, right? Like it's lower than that. And every time I'm like, nope, I'm very good at budgeting, and that is how much this book costs.
Yeah. Oh no, it's insane.
Yeah. I would echo that too. I mean, even making one issue of a comic, right? It all depends on your team too, right? And so many different variables, but even like with a podcast, right? Like, so people will be like, well, why do you have to get money for a podcast? I'm like, okay. There's a lot of work that goes into a podcast too. Like there's hosting fees, service fees, to store all your stuff, cloud services fees, and sometimes depending, like if you want to get some high name guests, you got to pay those fees, right? Like appearance fees and all the things that add up. And you're like, oh, it's not going to be that much. And just very much like Russell said, I'm doing my things and I'm like, holy shit, I need that much. And I'm like, I don't want to ask for that much though, but
that stuff can creep up on you too.
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I've had someone, asked to come and be on the show. And, I'm like, oh, well, you can jump on a slot. Our Kickstarter's coming up. We allocate a given number of slots for folks to come on. And they're like, well, I have to pay to come on the podcast. I'm like, well, there's value on the podcast, right? Clearly there is, because you want to come on, right? Like right now, as Don said, right? $400, boom, on your Kickstarter. So yes, coming on to even a podcast has value. And so it's just, I think a lot of things that people take sometimes for granted if they're not a creator themselves and having to invest their own resources and time and energy. And you just start to look at things a little different. Like, okay, I love this. This is my passion, but I still must eat. I must have a roof over my head, right? I have kids to clothe and myself to clothe, and all those things too. But yeah, all the stuff adds up. It all adds up.
Yeah,
and when you just look at
real, like Russell was talking about money, but like I write and draw everything from my Dork Empire Inc. I don't pay myself anything off these campaigns. I pay my inker, colorist, letterer, and print and do the rewards and all that. So I have to juggle freelance gigs to make money for my own family, and then the time put to these books that are my IP, to put on Kickstarter. And my goal was like $4,000, and I budgeted it down to every little nitty gritty thing I could take off. It's everything I had to pay for $4,000.
I think also we forget about like something that obviously everybody here is pretty good at, but like the pitch and passion of something, right? Like if I'm pitching Nightfall, then it should be like, when the world was at its darkest, a hero rose, right? And it sounds all great, right, in your mind. But when you're actually pitching it to somebody, you're like, oh no, so look, I got this angel, and he does, wait. He's really, really cool. You know what I mean? Because you turn into, because you're always a fan of your own work, and you really want to talk and geek out about it, but you got to remember, like, wait a minute, I'm not pitching it all the time to other geeks. Because other geeks are going to be, if I come to you guys and I'm like, yo, Justice is Subdo, he got black wings, man, he got locks, he got guns, he does stuff. You guys are gonna be like, oh man, Brian's passionate, it's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna see where he's going with it. But if you're talking to like the general public and you do that, they're like, this nerd, and you got to go like, no, then you got to go back to like, no, it was a secret society of people that did, you know what I mean? Like, and so people kind of forget that that's like, as much as we, the cost is one thing, right? But like that emotional labor too, to be able to package your idea, package your child, package what you're really proud of in this way that it can be consumed just on a surface level by other people. Because all you need them to do is open the book. But getting them to open the book sometimes is the difficult part.
Too. You got to be prepared for rejection too, because there's a lot of that. I gotta say that you just when you were talking about geeking out about it, it sounded just like me when somebody comes to the table at a con and asks me about the book. I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna love this. And then I'm jumping all over the place and what the story's about, and then they're all like, okay, you know what, you need to calm down and maybe drink a little less coffee.
I started getting placards for my con tables, just so it's like, oh, you want to know about the characters? Read that one, and then read that one.
Yeah, I actually had to I wrote myself little like mini paragraphs, and then I read them to myself so that I was like, okay, this takes less than a minute, we're good. And so that's what I had to do, because otherwise I go psycho. And I don't know if I've driven away any people, but because cons tend to be for people who are sometimes social outcasts, and they're only coming here because this is a really big deal to them. This is a really big fandom or whatever. So like you can't be too up in the face of of everybody. You gotta be able to judge your audience and see if they're able to handle all that.
Stephen Lightman also points out shipping is expensive, which I think we'll all agree. We're frustrated with the running a Kickstarter, and figuring out international shipping especially is absolutely insane. I'm sure Russell with a big hardcover book like that is a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, literally getting it out the door. So what people don't understand about shipping internationally is that there's a minimum. Like if something is 1 ounce or like 2 pounds, it costs the same. Like it costs $40 to ship internationally. Like it costs $30 to ship to Canada. Like if whether you're shipping like this like whatever this band or like a pound book, it costs the same. So like so you thank you, ladies. Yes.
They're angry about it too.
Yeah, so you like people ask all the time, like, well, what if I'm only getting a pin? And I'm like, get 5 books. Like it's almost the same cost to like ship both things.
And I'm sorry, but I live in the United States and you're in France. Like we can't fix that. And that's it depends on what country you're shipping to too, because like sometimes it's not that bad, but if you're shipping to the country right next to it that borders, it's double the price. It's crazy, like, and makes no sense.
And each province also, so like each part of Europe is different, or each part of like England's broken up into little pieces. Canada's provinces, like one floppy is to Canada is like $10 minimum. Anywhere to $10 to $15, depending on where it's going in the same freaking country. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But it's worth for France or England and Australia, $15 minimum for one floppy in a Gemini mailer. That's it. $15 out the door. I'm like, it's $1.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
That's not a failure in a row.
The hardest thing is people that complain about it to you, and I'm like, I don't make any money off of this. Like I literally I'm passing on a cost to you.
Right.
It's like it's no more fair to like eat the cost as I'm not eating it for other people as it is for you to pay it. I'm totally and so I always tell people there's companies that will like not hoard, but like they will you can pay them a fee and they will collect a bunch of international stuff together and then they will ship it across to you once you've accumulated a bunch of stuff. So like if you're on Kickstarter a lot, it is much less expensive to go to one of these my forwarding houses. I don't even remember. I used to put them on my campaigns, but I don't anymore. And have them collect all of it for you and then ship it to you in one go, maybe once every 6 months, than it is for you to get 20 different campaigns. Like it could save you literally thousands of dollars a year. But I can't do that because I am one person. Like we are each one human. Like, Skybound or Boom, like they're a huge company. Like they have shipping, like they can ship through Diamond or they can get stuff moved and like to their warehouses across the world, but like I don't have warehouses across the world. I don't have warehouses across the country. My warehouse is my garage.
Yeah, our last campaign for Unthinkables, actually, we happened to have our penciler, Ian Richardson, lives in the UK, and I was like, he offered, and I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yes, and he agreed to, like, I would just ship him stuff, and we'd have a printer in the UK ship him stuff, and he actually did all of our international orders, and it cost, I don't know, half or a third of the amount. It's insane. Like, unless you can do that, like no one is overcharging you guys. Like we're usually even undercharging you and eating $5 or $10 because
you don't even know if you're doing it. Cause like I ran a campaign in September, November, and January. And I realized that the September campaign, when I fulfilled it, I was eating costs for the Canadian shipping, but I was not eating it when I made it. But like in between the time that the campaign ended in January, like the rates for Canada went up. Meanwhile, the rates for other countries went down. And I don't know, like the only thing that I know for sure is like that media mail is relatively the same cost, even when they raise other rates. And so for the ones that I know I'm going to ship media mail, I can like pretty much calculate that very easily. But others, it's quite hard. It's like, interestingly, like shipping a book, like just the book is half the price of shipping 4 pins to somebody, because one of them goes media mail and one of them doesn't.
Right.
You know, Lori takes care of all the shipping stuff, so I never actually know about that. I just know that it's a nightmare, and it just made me think it's an awful lot like the hidden costs and things and the changes between starting the Kickstarter and actually delivering. It's like, it just reminds me of that time that I had to get surgery, and I got like 900 bills from the hospital, like one from the radiologist and one from the anesthesiologist and one from the actual surgeon. It was like, are you kidding me? It reminds me of that.
Yeah. I can tell you that shipping I have $1,000 that people, because you can see in the Kickstarter dashboard how much people have paid for shipping, like $1,000 for shipping internationally right now. It will cost me as much to ship every other package domestically as it will to ship the 10 packages internationally that I have to ship.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, I
International
paid
shipping.
$1,500 in shipping my last campaign because the price changes went up. I ate $1,500 in shipping.
Yeah.
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 Katie on Facebook also mentioned that people don't think about the time that we put into stuff.
Oh yeah.
And she said she saw someone complaining that a tattoo artist was charging 50 pounds to design her a custom tattoo without considering how many hours of extra work that is for her. Yep. So yeah, it's like, yeah, you think it's just a drawing, but it's not like she's Googling and getting you a custom piece. She's sitting there and drawing the piece. So yeah, it goes kind of back to that emotional expense too. Like you put that extra time and that emotional labor into it. It's something that you can't really put a price tag on.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I pay for myself at shows. Like I pay me at shows. Like I pay everything. Like all of these money that we make for the campaigns. Like we did $75,000, I think, last year on Kickstarter, and like that all went to the creators. Like I pay myself through going to shows. Like that's how I make my personal living, not the living for the company. Like the company can survive through like doing Kickstarters, but like meanwhile, like I'm sitting there being like, I'm glad my wife has a job because, like, you know, it's been over a year since we've been able to do a show. And that's like how I actually make the money that I use to pay me and like to keep the overhead going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, it's people do not value or understand the value of the time that it takes to make something. And in fairness, that's not their fault.
Right.
That is the fault of Marvel and DC and the companies that devalue and commodify the things that people, and not just like comics, but everything. Yeah. Like they don't people don't understand how much it takes to like make this watch band either, because like it's a commodity. But lovely Kickstarter humans, they do understand. Like that's what makes Kickstarter so wonderful, is because they actually do put a value and understand the value of making the thing, and that because we are small, it means that our pricing has to be higher, not cheaper. And that is the hardest thing to do for other products. Like I sell books, and like on Amazon, they always complain that the books are not like 99 cents. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like the books aren't 99 cents. Like Random House can make a book 99 cents. I can't, because it takes me, like I only have 1,000 people that are going to buy this book maybe.
Yeah.
It's a loss leader for Random House. Yeah.
Right.
Advertising.
Not to go on a grumpy Gus spree of like that, you know.
I think we're all there though. I think we all relate to this.
And I mean, in the end, through all that bad stuff, all that crappy stuff, like we wouldn't do it if we didn't love doing it. So I mean, who does this and absolutely hates every minute of it and makes $0 on it and keeps doing it? Like
that is so funny, because I tell people that all the time when they say, well, like, I don't want to make like I don't want to think of my art as a business, or like, I don't want to like, you know, I don't want to like think of whatever. I don't want to like think about making money on my art. And I'm like, well, here's the problem. Like if you go for long enough not making money on your art, gonna get discouraged and probably stop making the art. And if you can't at least break even on the art cost, you will slow down on your production. Like you have to, because you need a job, maybe a second job, maybe a third job, maybe a fourth job to like do all of these things. So it behooves you to at least learn something about how to turn this into at least a cash negative and revenue neutral enterprise, because then you can continue to do it and not have to worry that, like, you know, I talk to so many people who are like, you know, my wife gets on me every time I put out a new book because it's like $5,000 that we could have put into some other thing. And I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be great if like you just could make the $5,000 and at least say, well, you know, I'm using this in my free time, so like, please just let me do it, because it's not costing us any money.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, the stuff that I do outside of UHS, where when I go to cons, like I make basically like nothing on that. I make my table back and my hotel fees back, and that's it. Like I don't make money on it. I do it because I really want to do it. So,
but just the negative, the revenue neutral is so much different than like coming back from a show, even down $100, right?
Yeah. I was going to mention for Moana as well, like you need, for a podcast, you need equipment, and like people probably don't realize that. Like you need a mic that is okay. You need headphones that are good. You need internet that doesn't suck. Like my internet sucks. And if you have a podcast guest,
does that exist?
Like, and you need to put money into that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. Even when, you know, as I started doing it myself too, I was like, oh, I didn't think about these costs. You know, I was talking to Dane, I was like, damn, we need some cloud, because, you know, it stores, you know, Facebook and YouTube, they store it. But like, I also need my own copy of my videos so that I can make, you know, like snippets and all these other things to help promote. And my computer was like screaming at me, like, no, it's too much. You're you know, running out of space and acting crazy. So, you know, covering all those costs too, and then having someone edit for the podcast, because I'm not going to spend my time doing that. My focus is, I had to be really deliberate about this. Like, my focus is on creating the content. That's where I can make the most value. Leave the editing to somebody else who is good about that. I'm not going to break my head, because it's going to take me like probably sitting a whole day trying to figure out how to edit it in a great way. And when I can just pay someone $50 or whatever it is to edit my episode, and it's done, right? Like, out of my mental space, and I can focus on actually the content creation. So yeah, there's a lot of analysis being a creator on where to, you know, where's your energy and what's your strength, that, you know, so you know where to put your time and where to delegate everything else.
When you build your following for things like that, not specific to you, but to like live streams and YouTube creators and podcast creators in general, if you spend all that time creating your content and then editing before you put it out, and then build a following, people start getting pissy with you well, why don't you upload more often? Why don't you have these shows more often? Well, because you got to spend your time editing. So there you go. You have to spend, if you can't pay an editor to take care of that for you, then you have to do it yourself, and then you can't put out as much content. So there's just it's costs that you don't think about.
It's you know, very much like a comic, because it takes multiple people to create something, right? It's not the exact same thing, but in terms of time and bandwidth, it's very much the same thing. Like, either I'm going to pay in money or I'm going to pay in my time. Which one do I want to, you know, spend?
Brian, you were going to say something, I think.
I was going to say, I think as creators that we also, some of us, you know, we feel like we take the hit of other creators that haven't fulfilled their promise, right? Because whereas you guys might put out some awesome campaigns, if I'm the guy who's like, oh yeah, I make it look like you know, yours, or I've even partnered with you, and, you know, we're going to do some cross promo. If a year goes by, 2 years goes by, regardless of what my name in the industry is, like, now I just hurt your name. And then the next person who comes to back your campaign kind of looks at you a little sideways, like, well, why does it cost this much? Why is it taking this long? You know, what's the deal? For our first campaign, I think my turnaround was maybe like 2 months. You know, the printing and shipping was really, really quick. It was, really efficient. I came in at the right time. Our last campaign that happened, a month later took 3 months instead of 2. And, 2 months in one day, I had like 5 nasty emails. Where is it? What, why hasn't it hit yet? And I was like, dude, we have the holidays, like, it's there. You already have the digital, but we have to battle with that part of it too, in terms of like, that's another cost that you have to deal with. Again, it's that emotional labor. That is the money, because maybe you do try to, expedite the process. It's just, there are so many other elements that go into creating all of these things that people kind of don't take into account sometimes as they're waiting for that final product.
Well, to go back to the original question, Tony's question, like part of that emotional labor is like deciding whether you can continue a series. Like, and I've had so many problems with this in the past of like, is this like, do I love this series enough to continue it? And does this give enough revenue to continue this series? And like, all of that is like weighs on you all of the time, like, and some days, like, 2 weeks ago when the Ichabod campaign wasn't doing so swift, I was like, well, like, wow, like we just had, like, I literally like thought that we could continue this series for a lot longer than it looks like we can continue it. And, the last campaign had 600 backers. This one's got 375. And all of that goes into the calculation of like, is there another arc of Ichabod? Like, is there, like, no matter how much I love it, do I, like, if a book's not returning or returning less, or you start seeing a downward trajectory, you start having to say like, do I love this enough to take away time, effort, and energy from the things that make money? Or that like, that I can do easier, because Ichabod is not an easy book to write. It's not, it's very emotionally draining for me. Whereas like going back to write one of my like God's First novels, like that's easy. Like there's like while there are stakes, like the emotional stakes are like negligible. So I don't like, I could do one of those with almost no emotional labor, or I could like go use Ichabod, which has a ton of emotional labor. And if it starts breaking even, or not even breaking even, or there's even a fear that it's not breaking even, we're putting $20,000 on the line on a gamble, or whatever it is, $5,000, $2,000, $500. You're putting all of that money on the line as a gamble that you are at least going to be able to break even on that project in a year or 2 years. So the things that you do today end up being like, they decide like, am I going to continue that book? Am I going to continue that series? Am I going to continue working on that project? I ended my podcast last year because I kept seeing a downward trajectory. And I was like, I don't have the emotional energy to continue doing this and watching the every episode have less and less views than the one before. And even though there were tons of people who, like Moana being one of them, were incredibly supportive of my podcast, just, you have to, like, it breaks your heart to break that contract with the listener or the reader. But like, to me, honestly, if I had to go back and like do a more nuanced answer as to just saying money, like that is for me, the real hardest part of the money equation is does this book continue? Do I fulfill the fans that love it desire against, are there enough people to continue this series to make it profitable, or to buoy a company for, the money that I make on this campaign is the next 3 months of operating costs for Wannabe Press. So all of that is like, that really is the hardest part of bringing a project to life, is deciding when it lives and when it dies. And most projects live on a razor's edge. Like, they're always on this. I could continue it. Like, I haven't had one that was like, well, I have to continue this series. It's so big. Even Cthulhu book, like, literally broke even after I made both volumes, and that raised over $100,000 on Kickstarter almost.
So I'm sorry to interrupt real quick, and I apologize. My phone is about to die. I don't know why.
Oh no!
100%. So I got a jet. Thank you guys for having me. Moana, Russell, Don, I'm gonna hit you up later. Lori, Sarah, thank you guys again. I want to say goodbye before I get cut off, and I look stupid. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate the platform, and
it's nice meeting you, man.
Time.
Yeah, thank you for coming, and we'll see you. And I know, Don, you have to get going too, right?
Yeah, I think my wife from work, unfortunately. I'm sorry. We'd love to stay and hang out. But I appreciate you guys having me on.
We're getting about ready to wrap it up anyway, so we're good.
Okay.
Oh my God, my lights just flickered.
So,
maybe we're going to be wrapping it up sooner than I thought. So hey, I'll put your link up one more time on the thing here. I just lost it, so I gotta go scroll back up again.
Nightfall Part 2 and Dreadlock the Barbarian for Dawn on Kickstarter.
Yes.
Thank you all the new backers from this live stream. Much appreciated. Nice seeing you, Russell. Nice meeting you, Moana.
See you too.
I'll see you guys later.
See you.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming. Bye. So yeah, let's everybody go over our stuff one more time here too. And we'll wrap it up so that everybody can go about their evenings. So let me find and put whoever's link that I find first, I guess. Well, we can. It's Russell's. Russell's is first. So you want to just plug your stuff one more time here?
Sure. So Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter is about a mental patient that escapes a mental asylum and becomes a monster hunter during the apocalypse, but doesn't know if he's killing monsters, humans, or it's all in his head the whole time. It's magic, mythology, monsters, dynamic action. It's drawn by Renzo Podesta, who has been on since the first issue. And I love his expressions. I love his action. I love how he draws not just the small moments, but the big moments too. And he just has such a dynamic range. I hope you guys go and check it out. It's also probably my most personal project as far as comics go. And it has now eclipsed a decade that I've been working on it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. All right. Yeah, go back that. I'm going to do that because I cannot believe that you have your art looks very reminiscent of the game Don't Starve. And I love that game. So I'm looking at it going, I don't even care what the story's about. I want to buy it just for the art. So, and then you tell me that really very compelling storyline. I was like, yeah, I think I might have to back this one. So
awesome.
All right. So yeah, go back that and scroll up in the comments there if you missed the link that it's all there, and we're gonna post it all again here. So everybody do that. So hey, Moana, tell us about yours one more time.
Yep. So Moana Nui Podcast, a storytelling podcast that celebrates and honors the history, culture, and perspectives of POC, Indigenous, and African diasporan peoples. Most of our season 1 and 2 has been focused on the indie comics community, but we also have guests from the music industry, from acting, and it's just helping us to uplift marginalized voices and putting them to the forefront and bringing true authenticity to diversity and inclusion initiatives. So we are launching next week, Monday, and you can follow our preview pages up. So you can go to moananuipodcast.com, follow us, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Monday.
I will definitely be there.
Yeah, I'm ready to back it. I don't think I'm going to be first because there's always someone crazier than me who's ready to back it.
But the boys are going for it.
It's like a competition at this point to see who's first. But hopefully I'll be in the top 20 there.
Let's hope so.
I'm going to come up with some cool stuff.
And we're going to plug our own here, guys. We got a couple of more hours left on Elsewhere Volume 2, so definitely go and check that one out. It's got 250 plus pages of insanity, amazing art, and amazing stories. Anything else you wanted to add about that, Lori?
We're less than $300 from the next stretch goal, actually. So, I think we could hit that, and everyone gets another free print, a really awesome print. If we do,
love if we could get to this the stretch goal after the stretch goal, like the 15,000, because then it's a metal trading card with Katie's and my art on it.
Yeah.
It's art. It's my story. Mine and Katie's story, but it's totally Katie's art. Like, it's nothing. None of my stuff is on there. It's just Katie's. But it's a really awesome piece. So yeah. It's a freaking metal bookmark. Come on. It's metal.
Yeah. So I would like, well, if we can, if we hit 15,000, we'll unlock 2 more stretch goals. So if you guys can go back we have 43 hours left, and you'll get, you'll get issue 1 of Russell's book for free, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't even remember. There's so much free crap at this point. Like, so much good stuff.
Yeah, just prints and prints and there's, I'm sure there's stickers, and there's add-on goals that you can get with keychains and tote bags and stuff. Like, just go look at it and you'll see all the cool stuff that we got going on there. So well, thank you, Russell and Moana, for coming, and we thank Gregory and Don and Brian, who came as well and already popped off. Gregory did have to leave. He kind of just poofed on everybody, and I didn't even realize it at first. But his battery died, so that's what happened there. That's why he's no longer here. But we'll probably have him. We'll probably have all you guys on again at some point if we can sustain this live stream, and that would be amazing because I love talking to all of you.
Well, I want to be part of Volume 3. So
yes,
you should be part of Volume 3.
I'm going to convince all of you to be in Elsewhere Volume 3.
Yes. Yes, and that's, you got like a whole year to think about it. So we're going to make this happen. Awesome. So okay. So before we end up on another tangent and I do my Midwest goodbye thing that takes another hour, we'll get out of here. So thank you again for coming. Thank you everybody who tuned in to watch, and go back all those Kickstarters if you can. And if you can't, like and share the links and stuff for us, because that helps too. And I have one more thing. Yes, there we go. And have a wonderful rest of your night. So yay. And thank you. Bye.